Before the sun rises over the icy waters of Alaska, crews are already preparing for one of the most extraordinary logistical operations in the American seafood industry, transporting nearly 20 tons of giant Pacific halibut, each weighing hundreds of pounds, from remote fishing grounds to one of the busiest dining destinations in the world, Las Vegas, while keeping the fish fresh enough to be served within the same day. This story isn't only about fishing. It's about precision, speed, and the hidden system that makes it possible for a fish caught in the wild at dawn to appear on a fine dining plate under the neon lights of the Strip before the next sunrise. In this video, we'll reveal how Alaskan fishermen battle the sea to bring in record hauls, how specialized cold chain logistics keep fish at the perfect temperature mile after mile, and how a delicate balance of timing and coordination transforms a raw catch into premium seafood worth thousands of dollars in the world's most demanding culinary market. If you're fascinated by hidden supply chains and want more incredible behind-the-scenes stories, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss our next journey inside industries you never thought about but rely on every day. In Alaska's fishing towns, giant halibut are not just a meal, but a legacy. These fish, some over 6 feet long, can outweigh the very men who pull them from the ocean floor. The catch begins with long-line boats that set out before dawn, dropping baited lines that stretch for miles across the seafloor where halibut lie in wait. The process is grueling. Each line may hold thousands of hooks, and when the crew hauls them up, it's not just about pulling fish aboard. It's about wrangling creatures that thrash violently, each weighing up to 200 pounds, in icy, unstable conditions. On deck, crews move quickly to bleed, gut, and ice the fish, because every minute counts in preserving freshness. The clock starts ticking the moment the halibut breaks the surface, and from that moment, the race to Las Vegas is underway. But catching the fish is only the beginning. The second phase is chilling and packaging. In makeshift dockside facilities, workers dressed in layers against the cold sort and grade the halibut. Each fish is carefully packed into specially designed containers layered with shaved ice to lock in the cold. It's not just about cooling, it's about controlling bacterial growth to near zero levels. The margin for error is razor thin. Too much ice and the fish can become waterlogged, affecting texture. Too little, and the heat of transportation can spoil thousands of dollars worth of product before it even leaves Alaska. From here, forklifts load the ice containers into refrigerated trucks that rumble away from tiny coastal ports, beginning the first leg of a journey that stretches across thousands of miles. The next step is aviation, and it's where things get complicated. Alaska's geography offers almost no direct land routes to the lower 48 states, so air cargo is the only option. Airlines operate on a tight clock, with seafood shipments given priority over most other goods. A container of halibut has to arrive at Anchorage International Airport, be security cleared, weighed, and loaded into a cargo jet within a narrow time window, sometimes less than an hour from dock to plane. Cargo handlers move with the precision of a military drill, sliding pallets into the belly of the aircraft, each one tracked and temperature logged. Every shipment carries digital monitors that record exact degrees from start to finish, ensuring no box rises above the 34 to 38 Fahrenheit range. If even a single crate falls outside that safe zone, entire loads can be rejected upon arrival. As the jet lifts into the night sky, the halibut are on their way south, racing against time. Thousands of feet below, the icy Alaskan wilderness gives way to the desert expanse of Nevada, and the final stage of the journey begins. In Las Vegas, timing is everything. Cargo planes land before dawn, and trucks are already waiting on the tarmac to whisk the fish directly to restaurant suppliers. Within hours, crates of halibut are delivered to kitchens along the Strip, where chefs inspect the fish with trained eyes, running their fingers along the firm white flesh and smelling for the faint, clean scent of the sea. In just under 24 hours, what was once thrashing in Alaskan waters now rests in a glass case at a Vegas steakhouse or is sliced into sashimi for high rollers who expect nothing but the best. This astonishing supply chain reveals how much invisible labor supports a single plate of food. It's not only fishermen and pilots, but ice cutters, cargo loaders, truck drivers, and chefs, all linked in a chain of trust that stretches thousands of miles. One delay, one mistake, one broken refrigerator unit could collapse the entire system and cost millions in losses. Yet day after day, the process repeats with breathtaking accuracy, bringing wild-caught halibut from one of the most remote environments in America to one of its most artificial. It's a story of contrasts. The silence of the Alaskan sea against the noise of Las Vegas nightlife, the raw violence of the catch against the elegance of a plated dish, and the delicate balance between nature and technology that makes it all possible. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the hidden world behind what ends up on your plate, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's so much more coming. Stories of foods, resources, and traditions traveling impossible distances to reach us, each with its own chain of struggles and triumphs. By subscribing, you'll be the first to see the next journey unfold. Once the halibut have landed in Las Vegas, the real test begins. Unlike frozen seafood that can be stored for weeks, these giant fish must move from airport cargo to kitchen counters with absolute precision. The Strip is home to some of the most demanding chefs in the world, men and women whose reputations rest on their ability to serve only the finest ingredients. For them, timing is everything. A halibut that arrives even a few hours late risks losing the firmness and brightness that make it so valuable. That's why trucks are already waiting when the plane's wheels touch down. Drivers prepared to move the shipment directly to distributors across the city. Each crate is still packed with its original ice, but now additional refrigeration units keep the fish cold as they weave through the busy streets toward hotels and restaurants where customers are already making dinner reservations. Behind the polished surface of a casino restaurant, hidden from the glittering dining halls, there is an entire backstage world dedicated to seafood. Crates of halibut arrive through service entrances and are wheeled down narrow corridors to industrial kitchens. There, teams of workers slice open the lids and begin the inspection process. The chefs know what they are looking for: flesh that is opaque but not dull, a clean scent with no hint of sourness, skin that is taut and glistening as if the fish had just come out of the sea. Only when the halibut passes these tests is it accepted. In a single morning, hundreds of pounds can be portioned into fillets, steaks, or prepared for raw service in high-end sushi bars. The transformation is immediate. What was a whole fish only hours earlier is now an elegant cut, destined to be plated with precision and served under soft lights to guests who will never imagine the journey it took to arrive there. For the chefs, halibut represents more than just an ingredient. It is a canvas for creativity. In the luxury dining rooms of Las Vegas, it might appear as a golden seared fillet with a delicate butter sauce, or as a translucent slice of sashimi served with wasabi grown in the mountains of Japan. Each preparation highlights the clean, mild flavor of the fish, something only possible because of the extreme speed and care taken during its journey. Diners often pay over $100 for a single plate, and what they are truly paying for is not only the skill of the chef, but the invisible network of fishermen, packers, pilots, and drivers that delivered the halibut at peak freshness. Every bite is the end of a relay race that started far away in the dark waters of the North Pacific. The financial stakes behind this process are enormous. A single shipment of 20 tons of halibut can be worth well over $1 million once it reaches Las Vegas restaurants. That means every player in the chain, from the captain of the fishing boat to the airline cargo handlers, has pressure to perform flawlessly. Insurance companies monitor these shipments, knowing that if even a fraction of the cargo spoils, the losses can be devastating. At the same time, chefs place advance orders months in advance, aligning their menus around these deliveries. The synchronization required is closer to a military operation than a simple grocery run. Every box is tracked with digital sensors, and every checkpoint is logged, creating a digital trail that proves to the buyer that the fish remained within the proper temperature range from ocean to table. But for all its complexity, the system depends on something very simple: trust. The restaurant trusts the distributor. The distributor trusts the cargo company. The cargo company trusts the fisherman. And all of them rely on the ocean itself to continue producing fish of this size and quality. Halibut stocks are carefully managed in Alaska, with strict quotas and conservation rules. Fishermen know that without these protections, the very resource their livelihoods depend on could collapse. That's why the industry works under close government oversight, ensuring that only a certain number of fish are harvested each season. The irony is that even while the demand in cities like Las Vegas grows, the supply is tightly controlled, making every shipment even more valuable. This chain of trust and regulation doesn't just keep the fish fresh, it keeps the entire system alive. The people who enjoy halibut dinners on the Strip may never think about it, but their meal represents the careful balance between nature, commerce, and human endurance. One storm at sea, one delayed flight, or one broken refrigeration unit can disrupt everything, proving just how fragile the system really is. Yet, when it works perfectly. The fisherman's catch becomes the diner's luxury, and the desert city becomes an unlikely showcase for the bounty of the Alaskan Sea. As you watch this journey unfold, think about what it takes for that plate to reach the table. From the freezing wind on a fishing deck to the roaring engines of a cargo plane. From the quiet hands of a chef to the applause of a satisfied guest. Every step is part of a hidden story most people never see. And if you want to continue uncovering these stories, how ordinary ingredients travel impossible distances to become extraordinary experiences, don't forget to subscribe. Each new video brings you closer to the hidden machinery of the world we live in, revealing how much effort goes into the simple things we take for granted every day. While most people picture seafood as a simple dish placed on their plate, the reality is that each fillet of halibut arriving in Las Vegas carries with it a small army of workers, machines, and systems that had to align perfectly. To truly appreciate the scale, imagine the journey in reverse. At midnight, a chef on the Strip is serving a halibut steak perfectly seared, its flesh firm and snow white. Trace that dish backward, and within hours it was still sealed in an ice-packed container, being rolled off an aircraft under the desert night sky. Go back a few more hours, and it was still on a refrigerated truck thundering down highways from Los Angeles, where the plane had stopped to transfer cargo. Earlier that same day, the very same fish was being hauled from the icy waters of Alaska by fishermen whose hands were still raw from the cold. In less than 24 hours, the halibut has traveled thousands of miles and changed hands dozens of times, all without losing a single degree of freshness. This is the invisible choreography that makes the modern dining experience possible. The contrast could not be sharper. Alaska and Nevada could not be more different. One is wild, cold, and remote. The other is blazing, artificial, and bustling with neon lights. And yet, they are connected daily by this stream of seafood, proving that geography no longer dictates where the fruits of the sea can be enjoyed. In Las Vegas, where luxury defines the dining scene, halibut has become a status symbol on menus. To order it is to buy not only a meal, but also the story of its journey, the knowledge that what you are tasting was alive in untouched northern waters less than a day ago. This is part of what makes the dining experience so powerful for tourists and high rollers alike. They're not just paying for flavor, they're paying for access to a supply chain that seems almost impossible. For the fishermen, however, the story carries a different weight. Hauling in 20 tons of halibut is backbreaking work. And while the Las Vegas diners see only the finished product, the men and women on the boats see the reality of sleepless nights, dangerous seas, and long shifts where mistakes can cost lives. Each giant halibut can thrash with enough force to break a man's arm or knock him off balance on a slippery deck. Storms roll in quickly over the North Pacific, and crews often work in freezing rain or heavy fog with visibility reduced to almost nothing. The romance of seafood vanishes in those conditions, replaced by the raw struggle to meet quotas and deliver catches on time. Their reward is not only the paycheck, but also the pride of knowing that their fish are considered the best in the world, worth more per pound than many luxury cuts of meat. Behind the chefs, too, lies a silent discipline. In Las Vegas, kitchens work like well-oiled machines because they cannot afford to mishandle such valuable ingredients. Once the halibut arrives, it must be broken down with expert precision. A single wrong cut can waste pounds of meat, costing hundreds of dollars. Chefs train for years to handle large fish, learning how to separate the thick steaks from the thinner fillets, how to remove bones without damaging flesh, and how to preserve every usable piece. Even the trimmings, often ignored in less demanding markets, are saved for stocks, sauces, or even staff meals, ensuring that nothing is wasted. This respect for the product mirrors the respect fishermen show for the ocean, creating a continuity of care from the moment the fish is caught to the instant it is served. Technology also plays a silent but crucial role in the journey. Refrigerated containers are equipped with GPS and thermal monitors, constantly sending data back to logistics companies. If a single container's temperature begins to rise even a few degrees, alerts are triggered and replacement units can be sent. Cargo flights schedule their takeoffs to avoid delays that would leave fish sitting in warm terminals. Even at customs checkpoints, seafood containers are moved ahead of other freight, with specialized inspectors trained to clear them quickly while ensuring safety standards are met. This is not simply convenience, it's necessity. A delay of just 3 or 4 hours can transform a pristine catch into an unusable loss. And with millions of dollars at stake, the system has been designed to prevent failure at every step. Yet, for all the control humans impose on this process, there remains an underlying truth. It all begins with nature. Without the rich, cold waters of Alaska, without the unique biology of halibut that allows them to grow massive and develop delicate, mild flesh, none of this would exist. It is a reminder that behind the glitz of Las Vegas dining, there is still an untamed element at work. Fishermen can plan, airlines can coordinate, and chefs can prepare, but ultimately, the ocean decides how generous it will be each season. This awareness shapes the entire industry, keeping sustainability and respect for natural cycles at the core of every decision. The next time a guest sits down in Las Vegas and sees halibut on the menu, they may think only of flavor, of luxury, of presentation. But in reality, they are tasting something far larger. The product of thousands of miles, countless human hands, unbroken chains of trust, and the raw power of the sea itself. And as you continue with us on this journey into the hidden networks that bring extraordinary experiences to everyday tables, don't forget to subscribe and stay connected. There are countless more stories waiting, stories that will forever change the way you look at the food in front of you. In the heart of Las Vegas, the story of Alaskan halibut does not end when it is served on a plate. In many ways, that is only the surface of something much bigger, an intricate web of culture, commerce, and survival. What keeps this entire system alive is the constant demand of diners who may never set foot on a fishing boat or step inside a distribution warehouse. For them, halibut is simply one choice among many on a menu. Yet their decision to order it fuels an entire industry that stretches across thousands of miles, supporting fishermen in small Alaskan towns, pilots flying overnight cargo, truckers hauling refrigerated containers, and chefs whose reputations depend on serving only the freshest product. It is a vivid example of how one meal connects people who will never meet, and how luxury dining in a desert city sustains the livelihood of families in remote, frozen landscapes. As the cycle repeats each day, it becomes clear that the halibut supply chain is as much about reliability as it is about speed. The fishermen must trust that buyers will pay fair prices. The airlines must trust that cargo will arrive on time. And the restaurants must trust that their suppliers will deliver the same quality again and again. This invisible trust holds the system together more securely than any contract or regulation. A single failure, one fisherman cutting corners with ice, one handler failing to monitor temperatures, one chef rejecting a shipment, can ripple outward, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars and shaking confidence across the chain. It is this pressure that drives everyone involved to perform with near-perfect accuracy, day after day, season after season. What makes halibut especially unique is its position between tradition and modernity. The fish itself has been harvested by indigenous Alaskan communities for centuries, long before refrigeration or airplanes existed. To them, halibut was not a luxury, but a staple, dried or smoked to last through harsh winters. That cultural legacy lives on in the way modern fishermen approach their work, blending old knowledge with modern gear. Yet in Las Vegas, halibut is reimagined as a luxury item, elevated by culinary innovation and consumed in glittering dining halls. This contrast highlights the dual identity of the fish, a simple, nourishing staple in one world, and an extravagant delicacy in another. That transformation is not just about taste, it is about perspective, about how distance and scarcity can change the meaning of a product entirely. For the diners, the experience is more than just about food. A plate of halibut becomes a kind of performance. In an upscale Las Vegas restaurant, the presentation is as important as the flavor. Chefs might describe the journey of the fish tableside, recounting how it was caught in the cold northern waters less than 24 hours ago. That story enhances the experience, making the customer feel that they are part of something exclusive, something fleeting. In reality, they are buying into the romance of logistics as much as the quality of the fish itself. Few people stop to imagine the truck drivers navigating highways at night, the pilots checking temperature logs mid-flight, or the dockside workers standing ankle-deep in ice as they pack the day's catch. But all of these details are part of the story being sold in that single plate. And while Las Vegas represents the glamorous end of the chain, the story carries weight far beyond the Strip. Small coastal communities in Alaska rely heavily on the halibut trade to survive. Fishing towns where populations might number only a few hundred people see an influx of jobs and economic stability every season when the halibut harvest begins. Local stores, fuel stations, and repair shops all depend on the activity of the fishing fleet. Without demand from distant cities, these towns could struggle to exist. In this way, each diner in Las Vegas indirectly supports not just a fisherman, but an entire community, giving life to towns that would otherwise fade into obscurity on the edges of the map. Sustainability remains at the center of the conversation. Halibut is not an infinite resource, and the industry knows it. Strict quotas set by regulatory bodies determine exactly how much can be harvested each year. Fishermen are required to tag and report their catches, ensuring that populations remain healthy for future generations. This careful management is what allows the trade to continue, balancing economic demand with ecological responsibility. The challenge is ongoing as climate change shifts ocean patterns and threatens fish populations. Yet, the dedication to preserving halibut stocks is one of the reasons the industry has remained stable, ensuring that what arrives on plates in Las Vegas is not just fresh, but responsibly sourced. For those who work behind the scenes, the halibut journey is a source of pride. Every step, from the first tug on the fishing line to the applause of a satisfied guest, is a testament to human determination and coordination. It is a story of resilience in the face of nature's unpredictability and precision in the face of logistical complexity. To see a halibut dish served in a high-end restaurant is to see the end of a relay race that began in a place most diners will never visit. It is proof that with enough effort, planning, and care, even the most unlikely connections between a cold northern sea and a desert city of lights can be made real. And so the next time someone in Las Vegas takes a bite of halibut, they are participating in a story larger than themselves. They are tasting the ocean, the labor of fishermen, the hum of jet engines, the chill of ice-packed containers, the skill of chefs, and the hidden machinery of modern logistics all in one moment. This is the miracle of our interconnected world, that something so fragile, so perishable, can travel such distances and still arrive perfect. It is a story of trust, of endurance, and of human ingenuity working hand in hand with nature. If you've followed this journey from beginning to end, you now know the truth behind what may look like a simple plate of fish. And there are countless other stories just like this waiting to be uncovered. The hidden paths our food, our resources, and our luxuries take to reach us. By subscribing to this channel, you'll join us in exploring more of these untold journeys, diving into the supply chains, the struggles, and the triumphs that shape the world behind the scenes. Don't miss the next story. We promise it will change the way you see the ordinary forever.